Greetings. This is Doc Ock coming at you live and direct today from Black Facts Headquarters Central. Today's story is all about the Hausa Horsemen. Now, in order to know about the Hausa Horsemen, in order to even really talk about them, we need to do a little background on the Hausa, and that's where we've started at. So this will be part 2, but before we get into the story, let's go ahead and do our proverb for the day. If you do not step on the dog's tail, he will not bite you. If you do not step on the dog's tail, he will not bite you. And that is a proverb from, I forgot. Oops. Let me see. I just wrote that one down. I think it might be from the Cameroon or somewhere. Okay, let's see if it comes across here. If you do not step on the dog's tail, he will not bite you. Definitely a good proverb. Okay. Well, apparently I don't have the page here that I can find it easily on, but I will look it up and we'll have to get back to you later on that part. All right, sorry about that. Meanwhile, let's move on. Poem for today is simply called Opposites. The opposite of this is a little bit of that. Opposites. Okay. Well, I don't know where that one went to. It's like buried in there somewhere. So let's do the poem. Poem called Opposites. Oh, let me put my glasses on too so I can see a little bit here. All right, there we go. Now we're all set there. Dark and light, black and white. Which one is wrong? Which one is right? Down south and up north, out west and far east. Which one represents the beast? Opposites all. When you say one, you think of the other. They're two sides of the same coin. The obverse and the reverse joined at the hip. Siamese twins. There's no separating them. I say dark, you think light. I say wrong, you think right. I say up, you wonder what's going down. There's no separating them. Opposites are the same, just different. There is no darkness without some light. But the Bible says there was dark before there was light. And there was good before there was bad, even though there's no separating them. That one was particularly deep, wasn't it? All right. I didn't know I could get so deep. Meanwhile, let's move on back into Hausa land and see what more we can learn about the Hausa. And I showed you a picture of them before, so you can see, get an idea of what some of the Hausa look like. And you saw some more over here up on their horses. Okay, hence our title today, Hausa Horsemen, right? Hence the title for today. All right, the theme for today, I should say. Let's move along. All right, now, we left off yesterday right about here. Present-day Hausa stem from quote-unquote black ancestry that was transformed by widespread migration. The Hausa, who are widely dispersed geographically, are the largest ethnic group in the northern region of Nigeria, referred to as the far north or the Muslim north. The second largest group in this area is variously called the Fulani, the Pool, or the Fulbe. Because the Hausa and Fulani have close ties and are often interrelated, Nigerians tend to speak of the Hausa Fulani as one group. Nevertheless, some Hausa and Fulani regard themselves as distinct. For example, many Fulani proudly remain nomadic herdsmen and shun the settled agriculture that is typical of the Hausa. The origin of the Fulani is uncertain. Some believe they are a mixture of light-complexioned Berber nomads and settled black farmers. This is what we were talking about yesterday, who moved into the Senegal Valley together. Since prehistoric times, the Berbers moved around the Sahara. Of the Saharan Berbers, the Tuareg, whose ancestry is traced to Queen Hanan of Tafilalet in southeastern Morocco, were particularly active near the fringes of the southern Sahara, or Balad al-Sudan, the land of the blacks, not to be confused with the modern state named Sudan. The Tuareg Berbers divided into northern and southern branches. It was particularly the southern Berbers that intermarried with the black people of the south. From about the 1100s, their descendants, the Fulani, migrated into Hausa land and other parts of the West African savanna in search of better grazing for their cattle. As a result, the Hausa and Fulani have lived closely together, often intermarrying and sharing cultural traits. For example, while the first language of the Fulani was Fulfade, some Fulani adopted Hausa as a second language, thus strengthening their ethnic integration. Not only did the Hausa receive immigrants from the north, but some believe the Hausa migrated south from the Sahara to the savannah to escape desertification and conflicts with competing ethnic groups, including those among the Tuareg Berbers who were warlike. This movement brought the Hausa into contact with other groups farther south, some of whom gradually adopted Hausa language and customs. Because of the continuous mingling of these various groups, Hausa has become the dominant language of the central Sudan savannah. Others view the Hausa as Arabs from Iraq. Still others say that the Hausa have farming, fishing, and hunting forebears on the western shore of Lake Chad. Another view regards them as native to Hausa land itself. The Hausa's own account of their origin is in the Daura serpent legend. It is said that Prince Bayajida of Baghdad journeyed from Iraq to Canaan, Bornu. The king of Bornu allowed the prince to marry his daughter, but separated him from his followers. Suspicious of the king's motives, Prince Bayajida fled westward, leaving his pregnant wife at Biram Tagabas, near Kano. He commissioned some blacksmiths to make a sword for him. At a well where a sacred snake was preventing the people from drawing water, Prince Bayajida killed the snake with his special sword. Out of admiration and gratitude, Daura, the queen of the town, promptly married him and also rewarded him with a Gwari concubine. Bayajida had sons by both of them, Bawogari, the son of Daura, and Karabogari or Karavgari, the son of the concubine. Subsequently, Badogari had 3 sets of male twins who founded Kano and Daura, Gobiat and Zazao or Zadia, and Katsina and Rano. Another son of Prince Bayajida ruled Biram. These made up the 7 Hausa states, or the Hausa Bakwai. In addition, 7 sons of the concubine's son, Karabogari, established another 7 states: Kebi, Zamfara, Gwari, Jukun, otherwise known as Kwararafa, Yoruba, Nupe, and Yawuri. But these were pejoratively called Banza Bakwai, or bastard states. Oh, wow. Okay. So that's a deep history right there. And we didn't even get into but a couple pages of this thing so far. So you can see the Hausa are really a key, not just to understanding about Nigeria, but understanding about Africans in a large portion of the continent, particularly in terms of West Africa. Yeah, they're a very significant group. The period between AD 1000 and AD 1500 is regarded as the golden age of West African development. It was a period of expansion of trade, wide adoption of metalworking, and the growth of cities, states, and empires. In South Sudan, the Hausa states and the empire of Kanem Bornu were the most important political entities in the southeastern Sudan. So they're talking about the area of the Sudan. The earliest record of Hausa state formation goes back to the first king of Kano in 999, when some small settlements grew into cities and states. They functioned as centers for government and military protection. They were also places of exchange for both long-distance traders from North Africa, Muslim centers, and Europe, and for local farmers and craftsmen. The Hausa states of Katsina and Kano were the most important early commercial centers, and together with the states of Zaria and Gobir remained powerful up to the 19th century. The emergence and growth of states during this period, however, were accompanied by numerous episodes of internal conflict among the Hausa states themselves and with their neighbors. Hausa land never attained political unity until it came under the domination of the Fulani in the 19th century. More unified groups such as the Songhai, the Jukum, and the Kanuri thus were able to conquer various Hausa states from time to time. For much of their history, the Hausa had two powerful neighbors on their borders: the Kanem Bornu Empire in the east and the Songhai Empire in the west. The Hausa states of Kano and Katsina came under the domination of Kanem Bornu for some time in the 15th century. The Songhai, under Askia Muhammad, also conquered Kano and almost all of Hausa land in the 1520s. The defeated Hausa states had to pay tribute and were administered by resident agents. Some point out that no such event is recorded in the Hausa or Timbuktu chronicles, which are the major historical records for reconstructing regional history. A Songhai invasion is, however, reported by Leo Africanus, the Moroccan Arab traveler who was in the region at the time. In any case, Songhai had an immense cultural influence on Hausa land. The flourishing intellectual life at Timbuktu permeated the region, and Arabic language and culture spread to other cities and beyond. Not being unified, Hausa land was also attacked by the state of Kebbi when the latter regained its independence from Songhai in a celebrated victory at Tara in 1517. Under the leadership of Kanta Kotal, Kebbi overran the Hausa states of Gobir, Katsina, Daura, Kano, and Zaria. Kanta Kotal, regarded as one of the greatest leaders of his time, established a kingdom, so-called, with a large army and nurtured ambitions to build an empire in Hausa land to rival Songhai and Bornu. One of the strongest Hausa states in the 1500s was Zaria. which for some time controlled both the kingdoms of Nupe and Jukun in the south. Zadia rose to power under Queen Barkwa Turunda and her celebrated daughter Amina, who reigned for 34 years. Queen Amina extended the territory of her kingdom through military successes. In addition to external threats, Hausaland also experienced episodes of internal conflict among its states. The 16th century struggle between Kano and Katsina, for example, was caused by dispute over the control of the southern end of the trans-Saharan trade, by blood feuds between the ruling families or both. This long and intense battle ended in 1650 when Katsina emerged victorious. It then, however, promptly joined with Kano against the common threat of the Kwararafa or Jukun invaders. Lasting political union, however, continued to elude the Hausa states, although there were some notable examples of military cooperation between states. Between 1500 and 1800, various Hausa states rose and fell as they competed with each other for dominance. Kano rose to power between 1620 and 1730, and Gobir was at the peak of its power from 1730 to 1808. As the states grew in strength and traded with each other, they formed bonds of language, Islamic culture, and religion that gave Hausaland some form of unity. Migration. The political turmoil in Hausaland in the 1500s was accompanied by large-scale immigration that continued in the 1600s. Okay, we're going to come back to this part on tomorrow. So we're only going to read for this book for a few days. We're not going to read for a whole week, but we will read from this book one more day tomorrow about the Hausa. And again, all we're trying to do here is introduce you to the culture of the Hausa and what's been going on with the Hausa. Now, as they're talking about all these conflicts, turmoil, wars, etc., thing to keep in mind is that a lot of that was facilitated by the horses. A lot of that had to do with the horses. And even in terms of the movement, they're talking about King Bayajida coming from all the way in Iraq, all the way over to what we know as northern Nigeria, or over into that area. I'll show you the map over here. Northern Nigeria, over into that area. And you can see the lake here, up here in the corner. You see right here, Lake Chad. That's Lake Chad over there. Okay, so Lake Chad is right there on the edge, on one corner of Nigeria, but it's also right on the edge of Hausa land as well. So those are some long distances, and the horses would have been prominent in terms of the travel, as would also would also be true of the ship of the desert, otherwise known as the camel, beast of burden. You could ride on the camel, but more often than not, your goods traveled on the camel. If you were going to ride on anything at all, you'd probably ride on a horse, not a camel. Okay, camels are beasts of burden. They're like a mule, a donkey, ox. You know, who rides on an ox? People don't really ride on oxen. So that's all we're going to read for today on the Hausa Horsemen. We have been receiving some donations from you all out there. Today is the last day of our 2020 campaign. And I know we're not really even close to our stated goal of $20,000 by this date. So we have to go into overdrive here and extend our campaign out until November 20th. But that won't change the name because it'll still be 2020. So we're going to extend it out until we hit our goal of $20,000. We need those funds. We need them better than the hog needs slop, because this costs money in order to stay at home and do these kinds of things, because it does to stay here in our offices and do these kind of things, because it's not the kind of thing that you can really focus on when you're out and about doing all kinds of other things. I mean, you could if you had a whole lifetime, but you can see I'm already up in age. So I'm putting in a massive effort here at Black Facts to bring you some information that has been, I won't say it's been hidden, but it certainly hasn't been put on the front burner. It's way, way, way. It ain't even on the stove yet. Okay. It's like underneath the stove somewhere. I don't know where they put it at, but it's nowhere to be seen. But these books, information like this, obviously readily available. I've got these on Amazon. So they're not necessarily difficult to find, but as time goes on, I'll be putting books up in our eBay store. Look for them there. It takes a little while because it's not something that I've been doing for a while, and I'm still trying to learn the system, but I will get books up there. So keep looking. In the meanwhile, you can always donate below. If you're on Facebook, there's a link down there. It takes you right to a donation page. You can make your donation there using any one of your credit cards, etc. If you want to donate and you're not on Facebook, if you're on YouTube, you can go ahead and donate by going to our website. And there's a donation page on the website. Again, same thing. You can use any credit card that you have available. Go ahead and use it. Make a $5 donation, $10 donation. Make a monthly donation so that we start getting some regular influx of resources, as opposed to having to use the resources that we did have from doing the work that we were doing in the schools, which we are not doing at this time because it's just too dangerous for myself and my family members. So we're still on lockdown. I know most of you are not, but we are still on lockdown here at the Black Facts Educational Research Incorporated. So please go ahead and make those donations. Make them now. Make them early and often. And we'll be giving you some other ways you can donate that won't even cost you a dime. So we'll be coming with that starting tomorrow. Meanwhile, have a good day. We'll see you tonight. If you'd like to come back this evening. We'll be finishing up. Did we finish up on Biddy Mason? We finished up on Biddy Mason, so we've got a new story for you tonight. I can't recall which one it is, but it'll be a good one. That's for sure. All right. Peace out. We'll see you tonight.